welcome back to this week's hashtag Finance Friday. And I'm super excited to have our guest speaker here with us today. Her name is Marnita Opperman. But before we get into more about her, I hope that you've been tracking along with us this month as we've been talking about budgeting and the importance of it and how it works and all of those types of things. But sometimes we just need a little bit of a motivation to understand exactly why budgeting is important. And that's why we have decided to bring Marnita on board with us today. She's got this awesome testimonial about how budgeting has changed her life. So she is currently a money coach. She is doing this on the side over and above a whole lot of other things. But before I steal her thunder, Marnita, go ahead. Please introduce yourself the way that you like to be introduced.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I am absolutely honored to be invited to your show. So my name is Marnita. My background is in accounting. I'm still an accountant, but I have become a money coach over the last few years. And that started with my own dilemma of a story with money. That led me to become a money coach.
Sure. I think when people think about accountants, they think that accountants should be totally au fait with what's happening in their budgets. But we're just people at the end of the day, right? So maybe if you want to just share a little bit about your story, about like how your relationship with money has changed over time, and maybe even to reflect back on the fact that you are an accountant, but maybe your own books weren't in order necessarily. Go for it.
So people think as accountants, we get taught how to have a great relationship with money in university, in school, on the job. We don't. So we're no better off than the person next door who is a gardener or a florist or interior designer when it comes to relationship with money. Mm-hmm. So, and that's something I learned over the years. I was very ashamed when I looked at my own finances and thought, I'm supposed to know how to work with money. Everyone thinks I know how to work with money, and I don't, because I realized it had nothing to do with my number skills. It had to do with my relationship with money. Sure. Around about 2015, I realized I had a very messy, dysfunctional love-hate relationship with money. I could, do the budgets at work, do cash flow, everything. But when it came to my own finances, I didn't want to have a look at it. I was one of those people that if, my phone went beep, beep, beep at the spa till, I would quickly put it in my pocket so I don't have to see what number is left. And I just hope that I'll get to the end of the month.
Head in the sand mode, right?
Yeah. It was just completely head in the sand. I don't know how to grow it. I don't know what to do with it, kind of thing. In 2015, I sort of hit a rock bottom, because I was completely over indebted. The money, the bank just kept giving me more money.
I mean, what's wrong with them, right?
I know. A little letter would come through the door, or an SMS. Hello, it's ABC Bank here. We want to give you 30,000 rand in credit.
Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank goodness. I wanted, I need to buy that, and I need to sort that. And all of a sudden it's maxed out, and you're sitting with a big monthly repayment. And that monthly repayment just became more and more and more, to the point by the time, all my debits to pay back my credit, all my credit was paid off on the first of the month. I only had a little bit left to work with. So I kept going back into overdraft. I had to, because it didn't add up anymore. So I realized that this is not right, especially having sleepless nights, lying in my bed, being so scared about money, crying about money, not knowing how am I going to get out of it. I'm too ashamed to speak to anyone. I mean, how do I go to my family? I'm an intelligent, smart, successful person. Yet my money life is not reflecting that. I hit a rock bottom in 2015, and I realized I needed to do something. I didn't necessarily know what, but I think that was the pivotal point, is to say, I need to do something. I can't just go on like this. I need to find the help, or whatever it is, to to change this around.
Sure.
So they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
This is true.
So I actually got professional help.
Sure.
So I joined a money course where you get to learn the basics of relationship with money, which was so necessary. The numbers was one thing, but it was all about where did my bad behavior or my bad outlook about money, where did my habits form? How did I get to where I was? And that's the route I had to take first. I went on that journey, and it was just radical. Just to discover that you can have a supportive, fun, loving relationship with money. Like you can have it with a person, you can have it with money.
Sure.
And think about it. Money was there before you were born. Money was needed for you to come into this world.
Absolutely.
It's going to be with you your entire life. And it's going to be there beyond your death, because your estate will, no matter what your affairs look like now, you will have some sort of estate, whether it's a nice one or a not so nice one. It will even outlive you. You cannot divorce money. You can't run away from it. We are in the society and monetary structure that we are. So here we are. We've got to learn how to deal with it.
Sure. That's tough, eh? And I think a lot of people that might be listening to this can relate to your situation. I think there are a lot of people that are ashamed by their financial situation. And to know that there are options available to say, actually, maybe what you're experiencing is normal and it's okay, but there are ways to get out of it and there are ways to get around it, as you've said. And I think it's so important for us to get to the point where we are willing to ask for help, right? I mean, I'm the first person to say that I would rather try and sort out everything myself before I ask for help. But in reality, especially when it comes to something as important and as serious as money matters, you don't actually have a choice, right? You have to find those support structures, otherwise you're going to be stuck.
Yes, exactly. So yes, the choice is between am I going to continue what I'm doing even though it's not working, or am I going to choose something else? Am I going to start looking for a better way to do this? Even if you don't know what the answers are right now, just by you saying, I want to find another way, I want to make this better, that already sets you off on the path to find those answers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, acknowledging that you've got a problem is the first step to recovery, right? As they always say.
Exactly.
It's exactly the same in our personal lives, in our personal finance specifically. So, I mean, you've spoken a little bit about your relationship with money, but can you maybe help us understand maybe different ways that people deal with money, or the types of relationships that we might have, and why it's so important to understand, like almost like how that relationship started? As you said, you had to go and understand where those spending patterns started, or whatever that relationship with money. Can you maybe just talk to that for us?
Yes. So I, as a money coach, I do two parts with people. I look at the relationship side and then at the actual numbers, and we always start on the relationship side. And I do a very, very interesting exercise called the money biography, where someone goes back every year of their life and go and try and think of a memory around money at age 5, at age 6. So it's really looking at their life from a money point of view. What happened, in the family life? How did it make you feel? What impact did it have on you? And it's very, most people have never sat down and thought of it.
Be like a money psychologist. That's actually what you're doing here. Hey?
Yes, money psychology, exactly. So we look at, and then they have aha moments. Okay, I see my mum was head in the sand, throughout that period of time, and I mimic that behavior. And a lot of the times, it's either mimicking or having adopted one or both parents' relationship with money, or have gone the complete opposite. Resisting what their parents did and doing something completely completely opposite. So it's quite a fascinating exercise, because we then come to a point where we see what type of money personality did you adopt. And this is also I have a quiz, and it's a tool in my coaching called the money archetypes. So we look at 8 money archetypes or money personalities. And it's important for people to know that doesn't mean they are that, that's not who you are. It's just characteristics that help you see what dysfunctional or less some challenging aspects of your relationship with money shows up in your life, and how does it impact your life. Sure. So, for example, one money archetype can be the innocent. So the person that wants to avoid all financial matters, someone else needs to do it, whether it's a family member or a spouse or someone else. I can't deal with it. I don't know how to deal with it. That's one money type. Another one is the victim. It's not my fault. So a victim was definitely...
The card just swiped itself, right?
Say again, yes. It's not my fault. I can't believe I'm in debt again. But and finding all things to blame except, and someone needs to come and rescue me. So that was definitely one of my archetypes that ran the show. Back in the day. There's a fool archetype. So the fool is happy-go-lucky, not going to worry about today. Just spend. Money comes in, spend. And then there's perhaps the martyr, give to everyone around them, and you just give more than they can, and they deplete it at the end of the day. So there's different money types that play out, and that's why this tool is so great, because it helps us identify that money behavior, so that we can actually work with it and use tools to change those money behaviors into the ideal types, like the magician, the one that manifests and open up, attract opportunity. The warrior, who is disciplined, goal orientated. So that's the different money personalities I work with.
Sure, that's really interesting, and I would be very curious to know what sort of money personality I have. I think I'm very risk averse to a large degree. I'm very stingy, like holding on to the money, hoarding it, because you never know what might happen, and you never know when you might need it. So I'm sure there's a very, very...
So now, so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it can become a challenge when it's overboard, when there's no balance.
Yes. No, that makes sense.
You're still in scarcity, even though you collect, you still feel scarce. Then it might be a challenge.
Yes, I totally get you. Tell me, Marnita, I think one of the things that we sometimes struggle with is, okay, so you're talking about debts and credit cards and, all of those sort of things. There's always this idea about there being something like good debt and bad debt. Now, this is such a gray area, but I think it's something that might be worth just discussing. What are your thoughts on this? I've got my own opinions about whether there is anything like good debt, but I would like to hear from you. What do you think?
I think the easiest way to distinguish is bad debt takes money out of your pocket. Good debt puts money in your pocket. So bad debt is where you've bought something from Woolworths for 500 Rand, and in the end you end up spending 800 Rand on that same item because you paid it off over time with interest. So you've paid more on the same item that, and especially if it's groceries, it's gone within a weekend and you're still paying for it in 6 months' time. So that is, it takes money from you. Compound interest, it's all working against you. So anything consumer related, if you're purchasing an expense or buying something that on credit, that's your consumer item. It's going to work against you. Whereas your good debt is you're basically leveraging someone else's money. It's going to put money in your pocket. So, for example, an investment property. If you purchase an investment property, and obviously you've done your affordability checks, and it's all good. And everything, you've done all your. Doesn't mean just because the bank will give you the money that you can actually do it. It's more to it than that. But in the end, it's going to put money in your pocket. You're using someone else's money in order to make more money. So it's basically a business. You've purchased a business that's going to be putting money into your pocket.
Right.
So that's I don't know what your how do you explain that? I'd be interested.
I think it's similar to what you've mentioned. I think I would probably add in something like a vehicle could also potentially be considered to be bad debt, because it's obviously depreciating in value over a period of time, whereas a property would be increasing in value. So as you said correctly, if there's money coming into your pocket, whether it's through sale at a later point in time or because you're renting it out at the moment, I think that's a good differential to have.
Yes, because I totally agree with you. I mean, I bought my car on all the wrong conditions, brand new, overpriced.
Gosh.
All the bells and whistles, everything, with a balloon payment. I did everything wrong in that purchase. But so I learned how I will. And I will only buy, but now I'll only buy cars cash going forward. And I've learned all this stuff. But we do also realize, especially people starting out, that buying a car cash isn't necessarily everyone can do that. But there's smart ways to do it. So even though it's not technically in the bad debt in the bad debt category, you can still do it smartly.
Absolutely.
Paying it off faster, which I did in the end with my car, not having the balloon payment. So it's that
ways
one,
around it.
Definitely you can make it work for you, even though you might not have the money to buy it cash.
No, that makes sense. You touched on something there that just as you were talking about people that might just be starting out. Do you maybe have any specific pieces of advice for maybe for people that are starting out on this journey in their relationship with money, but not only that, might find that there are a number of people that are listening that's busy stepping out of university into the workplace, now having to try and deal with salaries for the first time, and maybe they've moved out of their parents' properties, now they have to deal with rent. Like, do you maybe have any suggestions for them as to where to start or how to start the process?
Yes, I'm specifically fond of this age group because with all my, my personal story, people I know stories, and then also my clients, I know if they at least had the tools back when they were 20, not even earlier, around about 25, that crucial time where you actually became independent because you started getting your own money. We at least could impart all these money tools that some of us never learn and some of us only learn late in life. Then you can make an informed decision. If you still want to go down the debt route or being irresponsible with money, at least you can say someone taught me better. So this is a crucial age. My biggest advice is don't leave it till later in life. Start now. I know you feel like, there's plenty of time, but if you start now, oh my word, by the time you get to my age or, where your parents are at now, you'll be in a radically different place. And you will not, and it doesn't mean, looking after your money doesn't mean scarcity. Now I have to have less fun. Now I can't do this. Now it doesn't. You can have a total balance, but a balance between building a future and living in the now, and not just living in the now. You are going to thank yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And if we bring in like the whole concept of compounding interest and what it can mean to you in a couple of years' time, if you start saving towards your retirement today, like it's never too early, right? To start doing those kinds of things. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Marnita. That has been really helpful. I have one final question for you, and then I'm going to close out this interview. I would like to know what financial freedom means to you. How would you define it? And how has this process that you have gone through helped you to get to the point where you have financial freedom? And maybe if you can just finally compare how you felt back then as you started out the story to how you feel about money now.
Financial freedom. it's something so close to my heart. I mean, I think about this all the time. So in a nutshell, what financial freedom means is my bills are covered whether I'm working or not. So my whole lifestyle, or my chosen lifestyle, because there's various levels of different people's idea of lifestyle.
Yes.
But my lifestyle is covered, and I don't have to physically work, go out, stop my time, work for the money.
Sure.
The assets that I've built pays for my lifestyle, and I have freedom of time.
Sure.
And I have freedom, I have financial peace of mind, freedom of my time, how I want to spend my time, what I want to do on a daily basis, what gifts I want to give to the world. Because whilst I work for money, necessarily, I'm not always doing exactly what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's something I strive towards. Every decision I make is in alignment with getting to that financial freedom point. Where my time is my own.
Awesome.
So I have one tip, and it's a tip that can radically change your relationship with money and also your financial situation. Every time that money comes into your life, it's so simple, but are you actually doing it? Every time that money comes into your life, keep some in your life.
Sure.
Whether it's putting a little bit away into a savings account, putting something into a tax-free investment, it doesn't matter. Keep some. Don't do 100%. 100% comes in, 100% comes out.
Yeah.
I started back in 2015 with 100 Rand. And I cried because all I could find was 100 Rand.
Sure.
I can only find 100 Rand to save. I was in debt and all of that. I now put away, save, invest 50% of my income every single month. I started with 100 Rand a few years ago. It was my dream to get to 50. I had no idea I was.
Well done, yeah.
50%.
Absolutely.
But it radically changed my life, committing to that 100 Rand. Doesn't matter how small you start. Keep something before you spend. That's my tip.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm totally for saving, and I definitely think we need to make sure we're putting money aside to be able to invest in your future at the end of the day. So awesome. Thank you so much, Marnita. Your story is amazing. For our listeners, if you guys would like to go find out more about Marnita, go check out her money quiz. We will pop the link in the comments below. Marnita, before we close out this call, finally, I know like in finance, we talk about the final version. So this is like the final question. I believe that you are an author, and I'm very jealous. So tell us about your book. What is it about? Where can they find it?
Okay, so I was part of an amazing book project with 8 women from all over the world.
Wow.
And we wrote about our own money stories and the lessons we can impart. And it's called The Money Code and How to Crack It.
I love it.
So this book is available either by emailing me or through any of my social media platforms. So the book is about our stories about money, and then also how you can use the tools that we've learned and change your relationship with money as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think this input has been really valuable to our listeners. I know for me, I wouldn't have thought about my relationship with money, even as an accountant. Like, I just think about the facts and the figures and not really about the relationship. But I think it's really important that we keep that in the back of our minds, because it informs every single decision that we make. It informs every single conversation we have. So thank you so much for bringing this clarity to our minds in terms of our relationship with money. Really appreciate it. So go check out Marnita's social media pages and her website. As I said, we'll be sharing it. Go check out that money type quiz and go check out her book. It's going to be awesome. So thank you, Marnita. Really a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to seeing what is on the horizon for you in future.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Cool, guys. So until next week, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.